Yeah, I can tell you the people of Alberta would be ashamed with the answer you just gave.
We've got more of them. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today's top story here. We've got more Liberals calling out Justin Trudeau to resign. And it's multiple ones. We've got a ton of other stories. More crime, chaos, madness in our country. Let's jump into this. First off, we got Liberal Ben Carr, this guy. So he's calling out Trudeau to resign. You can see his open letter here. Upon becoming your member of parliament, I made a commitment to act with the utmost integrity in every action I undertake on your behalf. Ugh, get real. So he says here, it is with those principles in mind that today I call for a change in the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada. He doesn't even say Trudeau's name. This is weak, man. The next Liberal who's calling out Trudeau is this little crumb snatcher, Peter Fragatis-Katos. As it says here, at the present time, the continued leadership of Prime Minister Trudeau is just not tenable. In particular, of what's happening with Chrystia Freeland, Peter Fragatis-Katos said in an interview with CBC. He said he gave the Prime Minister space over the holidays to reflect on his future after Freeland abruptly resigned as Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, calling this a defining moment. Another rat jumping from the ship. And we've got a couple more of them here. Maddie Prima, the president of Willdale Federal Liberals Riding Association, wants Trudeau to step down, resign. I think there comes a point with all leadership, there's a way to gracefully say, I've accomplished everything I've done, and maybe it is time for a new leader. There's nothing graceful about Justin Trudeau when you got people sleeping and dying in the streets. The MP who represents the area, Ellie Sassy, also called for Trudeau's resignation. It would be responsible on the Prime Minister's part to say, maybe my time has come, maybe I should be supportive of something else. Unfortunately, Justin Trudeau doesn't care about anyone but himself. Maybe you guys should have thought about that before you made him leader of your party and remove the ability to oust him. So that brings us to 4 Liberals that are jumping the ship here. We've got this one here posted by Brian Lilly. It says, why is the CBC anchor arguing with a guest, Regan Watts, before we have an election that the Liberals should be allowed to have their leadership race in peace? This is some extreme woke nonsense here.
What do you think needs to happen right now in terms of an election, in terms of a new leader? I know you want Pierre Poilievre to become the next prime minister, and if polls are right, it sure looks like he will become the next prime minister. But what do you think needs to happen in terms of an election where presumably there needs to be a leader of the Liberal Party going into that election?
Well, what we need is for the Liberals and for the Prime Minister to do something that they're not prone to doing, which is putting the country first. We don't need a Liberal leadership distraction with the President of the United States and Donald J. Trump, who's going to be sworn in less than 3 weeks. We don't need the political intrigue of a Liberal leadership. What we need is for Canadians to have a say on their future. And the way to do that is to go for a general election. Justin Trudeau, he believes he's the best campaigner the Liberal Party has. His staff and his team, his palace guard, they think he is the best leader that caucus has. And so what he should do at this unprecedented time, and this is truly unprecedented, is we need a general election. They should go to the polls. They should ask Canadians for a mandate, and may the best candidate win.
Yeah, 100% agree. Trudeau thinks he's so great, it's time for an election. They don't deserve to have a leadership race and drag Canada through this mud further and further and further. They've lost their out. This is despicable at this point.
Let me just push back a little bit on that, Regan, that seems to be, if the polls are right, that he is not the leader that a lot of people would like to be prime minister, that maybe that another leader of the Liberal Party could be a different choice for Canadians. Again, the polls certainly suggest that Pierre Poilievre is going to win, but Canadians will decide that. Would it not be better to have, Pierre Poilievre face off against a viable alternative? It's always good to sort of have all these policies kind of hashed out in a campaign rather than it being possibly, just kind of a whack job on Justin Trudeau and his leadership.
A whack job? Are you kidding me, man? People are suffering and starving. 25% of people can't afford food. And we have to give the Liberals the courtesy of running their leadership race? Grow a spine. Have some pride, man. Canadians need an election. We need new rules in this country that protect us against rampant corruption like this Trudeau Liberal government.
Well, the Prime Minister and the party are going to be accountable for his record, whether or not Justin Trudeau is on the ballot in the next general election. But what we have, Andrew, and I would encourage you and all of your viewers to think about the big picture, is a truly unprecedented time in Canadian history where we have a looming economic threat, 25% tariffs, a prime minister, and you said this before I got on the air this afternoon, who has not spent time talking to the media. It's been almost 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, pardon me, since he's held a press conference. And so what we have is a government that's in disarray. It is not good enough for Canada for the Liberals to take their time and figure out who they want to be their leader. And it is not in the interest of the country to give them the runway to do that. It is in the interest of the country because we need to move forward. It is 2025. This prime minister has been in power for 9 years. The party that he leads will be on the ballot in the next election. It is up to Canadians to render their judgment on the future. What does that future look like from an economic perspective, foreign policy, crime? Whether it's Justin Trudeau or Christian Freeland or Dominic LeBlanc or any of the other rumored candidates, Mark Carney, Liberals are going to have something to say to Canadians. My point is that it doesn't matter what they have to say. It should be put to the people. It shouldn't be put to Liberal Party members. It should be put to the people in a general election so Canadians can have a say on the future.
Regan, thank you. Regan Watts is
Regan, thank you. He's got nothing to say to that. They're holding Canadians hostage. This is insane. The CBC anchor seems rather emotional while Regan Watts is rational. Trudeau's betrayed all of his friends and supporters. I don't think Trudeau cares who or how many people he hurts, though. Has anyone asked Xi Jinping who he's putting in the next race? I hear they like Carney. That's the sound of an anchor that's going to get his pay cut. Don't call him an anchor. He's a paid actor. Regan should be eating an apple during this interview. We got this one from Michael Barrett. Says Justin Trudeau's state broadcaster takes $1.4 billion in tax dollars and says it's looking for another $500 million. So you can see here from Blacklock's reporter, the CBC wants between $400 and $500 million more. We know full well since the House is locked, Trudeau's not going to open up Parliament again. He's probably going to prorogue. The only thing they're going to get is the cold boot from Pierre Poilievre. We got this one posted by Brett Wilson. This is the entrepreneur that was offering to pay for Jagmeet's pension if it means we get an election. It says, Justin Trudeau releases New Year's message to Canadians. Yeah, a whole lot of nothing. He's actually not spoken to the media for 3 weeks now. I thought this one was funny. This is Pierre Poilievre's riding, the most secure riding in Canada. Next, we got some butthurt NDP, starting with this guy, Charlie Angus. He's been quite vocal recently. He's just becoming unhinged and unraveled.
As Mar-a-Lago moves to Washington, we're watching a grifter's parade. We've got loser billionaires like Kevin O'Leary coming down and to talk to Trump and saying he's going to cut a deal to sell out Canada. We got
Kevin O'Leary is building a data center in Alberta. What have you done for our country? Supported Jagmeet in the carbon tax that's crushing our country? How dare this guy even open his mouth?
Losers on Fox talking about taking over making us the 51st state. We all know what that's about. This is all about diversion. Donald is coming in at a time that he's going to bring maximum chaos, maximum havoc to the American people. So he's looking for a punching bag. And there's this nice, quiet Canadian neighbors that they're threatening they're going to take over. He's going to steal all our water, maybe come and take the chickens out of the backyard as well. I don't know. But the thing is, Donald, it's not going to work. And what you're doing is you're creating chaos for your own people.
These NDP are just sounding pathetic at this point. Maybe it's a desperation. They're all about to lose their jobs. Speaking of which, we've got Peter Julian here, and this is just pathetic. It says this is a part of a massive foreign interference strategy, which is the only reason Pierre Poilievre is leader of the Conservative Party right now. So Peter Julian is saying the only reason Pierre is the leader is because of massive foreign interference. Are you kidding me? So what we're seeing here is a bunch of bot accounts. This happens in every election. It happens in every party. You see here, just got back from Pierre Poilievre's rally in Kirkland Lake. I'm buzzing with energy. And they all says the same thing. I'm buzzing with energy. It's the same post on all of these. Nobody knows where these comes from. Politics are polarizing. People will go and create accounts. They'll create bots. They'll do this stuff. You see it on both sides. But if you look at Justin Trudeau, who's actually been influenced by China, big money coming from China, versus who is this affecting? Are people really rallied by these comments? Let's get real. This is embarrassing. There are 2 community notes on your post with very solid evidence attached. You should take this down before your constituents see it. You seem to be coping well with the polls. Oh, these burns. Why sell out saying you're leader? You got proof of this? Did you forget China, the reason Trudeau PM right now? We've got this one here. So it says, so the liberal solution to the housing crisis is communism. So Justin Trudeau posted on his X account here, there are more than 200,000 short-term rentals across the country, like Airbnbs and Verbos, that could be turned into housing. So we're giving cities more resources to crack down on those rentals and unlock more homes for Canadians. I'm sorry, Justin, but going and seizing people's houses is not how this works. People didn't work hard to get another house and have you seize it because you brought in 3 million people per year breaking our country. I should mention too, Justin Trudeau, this is the guy who has a real estate development company who's gotten rich off of this. Prove me wrong, Justin. If anyone knows how many acres this this guy has, how many homes he owns, how much land he has. It's all hidden away. He knew what he's doing this entire time. How much land is in that company that you and your brother own together? Next up, we got this one from Melissa Lansman. It says, so the guy advising the prime minister at the same time as managing the affairs of Brookfield needs to come clean before the Liberals and their media friends finish the coronation of his leadership. The NDP, who chirps about the wealthy CEOs propping them up at every turn, might want to support this motion. Has Carney personally profited from being Trudeau's top economic advisor? Mark Carney is the ultimate Trudeau insider for nearly half a year. He's formally been chairing the Trudeau government task force on economic growth. However, informally, he has been serving as the Liberal government's phantom finance minister for far longer than that, and even mainstream media reports showing his influence over Trudeau's economic agenda dates back over several years. At the same time, the corporations that Mark Carney has senior roles in have been actively pursuing the same federal Liberal government he's been advising for policies, rules, and handouts that would make their shareholders richer. For example, Brookfield, a multi-million-dollar everything corporation that Mr. Carney chairs, has been lobbying the Liberals for $10 billion from taxpayers for a new investment fund. As well, the industry committee has already revealed another company Carney is director for has been allowed to ignore Ottawa's plan to reduce interchange fees for small businesses without any consequence. The question now becomes how much Mr. Carney himself is profiting off of this influence. Executive compensation for a board chair of a company of this size, of Brookfield, can include salary, performance bonus, stock options, lucrative expense accounts, and more. Given their tax dollars are on the hook, public has the right to know if Mr. Carney's compensation increases as the federal Liberals implement his policy ideas. This is so true. We need to know exactly what Mark Carney is up to. There's so much more we don't know what's going on. I mean, it would take a real whistleblower like Chrystia Freeland or someone on the inside to really do it, but she's not going to do that because she wants to run for the Liberals. She wants to take over the party. It's going to be a feeding frenzy of all these rats trying to get that one piece of cheese. Meanwhile, we've got Maserati Marxist here, Jagmeet, saying, no, it's not my car. It's us. It's someone else's, not mine. So I've got it right here. This is the one he's talking about where he had a committee meeting with Mark Carney. So this was posted a couple years ago, but Pierre just absolutely destroys him in this.
Minister's decision to veto the Northern Gateway pipeline, Mr. Carney.
I understand the veto of the Northern Gateway pipeline.
You support it?
Given both environmental and commercial reasons.
Do you support it?
I think it's sensible. I wasn't involved in the decision, but I think it was the right decision.
And yet your company has invested billions of dollars in oil companies in both Brazil and the UAE to buy pipelines. You bought billions of dollars of pipelines as a company in the last 5 years. Do you support those investments?
Mr. Polyev, there is a global energy system, and one of the issues, I'm trying to explain a bit of how the economy works. One of the
Thank you
issues,
so much.
It may have. One of the issues for this committee in thinking about a sustainable transition.
Do you support it?
Where is Canada's role in those as energy transitions from fossil fuels to renewables? And in different jurisdictions, into different geography, it matters. It matters, and this is a fundamental point.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. This is a fundamental. You're finally getting to a point.
You've exceeded the time.
Relevant to this committee's inquiry.
What you're saying is you oppose pipelines in Canada, but you support them in the UAE and in Brazil. That's what you've actually said.
There are specific.
That's your double standard.
It is not a double standard.
It is a double standard.
No, it's not.
You make billions of dollars off foreign pipelines, and you shut them down here at home, putting our people out of work.
That's 100% a double standard.
That you are a representative of the Canadian people, and one of your responsibilities, including at this committee,
is to fight for Canadian jobs, and not foreign jobs like you.
Exactly, to fight for Canadian jobs, and the types of Canadian jobs that are durable and are going to move forward.
Right.
I grew up in Alberta. I know the innovative nature of that.
Well, go try to give that answer back in Alberta, because I grew up there too, and I can tell you the people. I can tell you the people of Alberta would be ashamed with the answer you just gave. That you would give billions of dollars to foreign pipelines while not allowing Canadians to build pipelines here at home. That is the kind of elite Davos hypocrisy.
Continue, Mr.
Wow, he's just ripping him to pieces. So Mark Carney's completely a hypocrite. We've got this here, Brookfield, which is the asset company that he manages, shifts head office to New York from Toronto. See, he shut this down in Toronto, moved it over, you can see right here, to gain access to U.S. stock indexes, etc. He just knew the state of business in Canada sucks. because of Justin Trudeau, who he's connected to through family, same as Chrystia Freeland. All of them are connected like a big family. Like, what a hypocrite. And he goes and has a pipeline out in Brazil, shutting down oil jobs in Canada.
Thank you. Mr. Carney, you've just said you support your leader's decision to kill a Western Canadian pipeline that ships the most ethical product in the world. Yet you also support your company's decision to invest billions of dollars in foreign pipelines in Brazil and in the UAE. It's clear that this is not about the environment. If it were, you'd be consistent and you'd oppose fossil fuels everywhere. But you're happy to profit off of foreign fossil fuel companies while killing jobs among our own people. How do you address that flagrant hypocrisy? It smacks of the Davos elite at its worst.
Okay. First thing, absolutely, I support Canadian jobs, and I support Canadian jobs today and tomorrow. And in order to have those jobs tomorrow, what we need and what this committee can contribute is an energy transition. Canadian fossil fuels, Canadian companies will play an essential role. Brookfield itself is heavily invested in Canada, including in energy infrastructure for fossil fuels, but it's also, and we connect collectively as Canadians, and we look to our parliament to support this, need to be putting in place the energies and industries of the future. That means carbon capture and storage. That means blue hydrogen, and both of which are absolutely essential for Canadian jobs in my home province of Alberta. And that's where the future lies. Now, we need to have the overall picture, which is why, and I'll finish with this, Chair, I emphasize the clear pathways, walking back from that, not jumping on specifics, and not seeing the bigger picture, nor providing the support that Canadians deserve.
Mark Carney trying to dig himself out of a hole, but Pierre called him straight on it. It's obvious what Mark Carney's objectives are in life. It's to wealth and power. That's it. And he's using climate change as the way to tug on people's heartstrings and the doom and gloom way of basically making a ton of money. Globalists do not belong in Parliament. First, they took our manufacturing jobs and moved them to China. Now they're taking our resource jobs. These people have zero conscience. Can't lie, Carney is the enemy of Canada. So there we have it. More Liberal MPs calling for Trudeau to resign. This is just beyond a clown show. Our country is falling apart. It is deteriorating block by block every single day. With impending caucus meeting on Wednesday and a bunch of Liberals applying the pressure, the key question is here, and put it in the comments down below, how many new Liberals will call on Justin Trudeau to resign by Monday?